Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to introduce you to the TOEFL examination. So as usual, we're going to go over 6 questions about the TOEFL that you might be having, and then after all these 6 questions, you should have a fundamental understanding of the examination. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, what is the TOEFL examination? So the TOEFL examination is an exam that universities use to judge their candidates' English language proficiency. Because the program that you're applying to is going to be taught in English and everyone's going to be speaking English and so on. So they want to make sure that you are able to communicate well enough in English to be able to succeed in that program. So that's why they basically ask you to submit the score, right? So TOEFL exam is going to be scored out of 120 and the score is valid for 2 years. It costs around $180 to take, and it's conducted in test centers pretty much all around the world every single day. So if you want to take the TOEFL test tomorrow, you can, right? And usually it's conducted at test centers, but because of COVID, they've been allowing you to take the test online as well. So next question is, what is the TOEFL exam test, right? So there's 4 main sections to the TOEFL exam, which is reading, speaking, listening, and writing. So in the reading section, you're going to be given like a passage and you need to basically read that passage and then answer questions based on that passage. In the speaking section, you're either going to be given a prompt and you have to answer, basically you have to talk about that particular prompt, or maybe you'll be given like a conversation or a lecture and then you have to talk about that particular conversation or lecture. In the listening section, again, you're going to listen to like a conversation or a lecture, then you have to answer questions based on that particular audio clip. And in the writing section, you're going to be given 2 prompts, right? So you have to write 2 essays. They're kind of short essays, not as difficult as the GRE essays, so they're pretty short and it's not too difficult. It's still like, of course, essay writing, so if you're not good at essay writing, you should probably brush up on that. But yeah, they're just 2 essays, they're not too big and they're not too difficult as well. Each of the sections is scored out of 30 points, so you get a total of 120 points for your exam. Before we move on to the next question, I just want to remind you guys to subscribe to the channel because we have a ton of graduate program related information every single week. Okay, so now on to the next question. So now the question is, do you need to take the TOEFL examination? So you've probably heard of the TOEFL and then you've heard of the IELTS, right? So these are the two most competing English language proficiency examinations. So the rule of thumb is if you're applying to the US, right, then you should write the TOEFL examination because like all universities in the US accept the TOEFL examination and so on, okay? Now, if you're applying to only outside the US, you should consider taking the IELTS examination because most universities outside the US, they're looking for the IELTS exam. So next question is, when should you take this examination? So ideally, what you should do is you should try to take it in the same year that you're applying, right? So if you're applying for, let's say, fall 2022, that means your application would be in 2021, right? So try to take the exam in 2021. Same way, if you're applying to fall 2025, try to take the exam anytime in 2024. Next, what is a good score? So if you get 100 out of 120 in the TOEFL examination, you should be able to apply to like 95% of the universities out there. So that's a good target score. If you get 110 out of 120 in the TOEFL examination, you should be able to apply to like all the universities, right? So I think that covers all the universities. So 100 is a good target score, but 110 will allow you to apply to all the universities. And lastly, how do you start your preparation for the TOEFL exam? So for the TOEFL, I highly recommend the Kaplan TOEFL book. I don't exactly remember the full name, but that's like an awesome book. That's a book that I use and it's a book that I would highly recommend. I'm gonna leave a link in the description for you guys if you wanna go and order that book, okay? So that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you're subscribed for more GRE and graduate program related information, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.